Well, hello everyone and welcome. My name is Ajahn Wade. I'm a visiting monk here at Empty Cloud Monastery and been here for about a month, or a little bit longer, actually, I think. Yeah. and very much enjoying my time here. And today, Ayawata asked that I give a Dhamma talk for this regular Wednesday night live stream. We have people signing in remotely. We have some yogis here in the monastery as well. And Bhante Sanata Vihari is with me, and so is Ayawata. And why don't we get started by doing a little bit of meditation. So what we'll do is we'll sit upright, whether we're sitting on the floor or sitting in a chair. Could be standing if anyone would like to do the standing, can, who's at home. Let's kind of assume an upright position, and we can gently close the eyes. They say if you want to see the world outside, you open your eyes. But if you want to see the world inside, you close your eyes. But if some of us find it more comfortable to have the eyes open too, that's all right. Some of us may see images, for example, pictures. If we close our eyes and if we open them, we won't be distracted by them. Or if we're feeling drowsy, it may be better to have the eyes open a little bit and let some light in. Now we'll imagine that we have a cord attached to the tops of our heads. Just imagine that you have a cord there stretching up to the sky or up to the ceiling. Gently lifting you into an upright position, gently raising your posture just a little bit. And your back straightens up and your neck. Quite gently. And we'll continue our awareness there at the crown of the head and see how it feels. And allow it to relax. Just be aware of the feeling there, the sensations in the crown of the head, and allow it to relax. And then we're going to move down to the forehead and the temples. And be aware of them also. And allow them to relax too. Maybe take a couple of deep breaths. Then be aware again of the forehead and the temples, and allow any tension there to ease out. And then we'll slide down to the eyes and be aware of the eyes. Noticing them. And allowing them to relax. We can put down everything else, let it all go, and just gently be aware of the eyes and how they feel, and allow any tension to ease out, and allow them to relax. And then we gently bring our awareness to the area around the nose, into the cheeks, into the jaw, the lower half of the face. And again, we try to sense, experience how they feel. And allow them to relax. See if you can notice one cheek, and allow it to relax. And then the other. Dwelling there for some time with awareness. And allow it to relax. And then allow the jaw to slacken and relax. And then we'll move around to the back of the head. And we'll do the same thing. Gently bring our awareness there to the back of the head. And see how it feels. And allow it to relax. If the mind wanders, we simply remember that we're using this time to practice our awareness. And we come back to the back of the head. And dwell for a few more moments with awareness. Just there. And allow it to relax. We can take a couple more deep breaths. Feeling the air come in and out, nourishing and refreshing. And then we'll move down to the neck and the throat. And you can imagine the muscles there, just lightly. And experience how they feel. And allow them to relax. And you can feel the air, the breath, passing through the throat. And experience how the throat and the neck feel. And allow them to relax. And then we'll gently slide down to the tops of the shoulders. and experience them too. And allow them to relax. And perhaps droop just a little. Allow them to relax and droop naturally, letting go of any tension held there. And then we'll go down to the chest. And notice how the chest feels, the muscles in the chest, and allow them to relax too. And this is the last stage of the body scan we'll do in this meditation. So bring the awareness there and really experience, how does the chest feel? And allow it to relax as well. Now there in the chest also, we can feel the breath and the rise and fall. And if you like, you can take a couple of more deep breaths. Refreshing and nourishing you. And feel the chest rise and fall, and the breath flowing through it. And now in that spot, I'd like to ask you to imagine your spiritual heart. Imagine your spiritual heart coming to relax there. Your heart collecting easily in a relaxed way back into that space. And notice the breath there. And allow the heart to collect there. and experience how it feels. There at the chest, with the flow of the breath. And we'll try to hone in more on the breath itself, noticing the breath as it rises and falls in the chest. Breathe as you like. And be aware and see how it feels. And the breath will fall into a natural rhythm. And we allow it to do so. It may become soft. And now we'll try to sharpen our focus by counting. And so as the breath comes in, count 1. As the breath goes out, count 2. And then as it comes in again, count 3. And count in this way from 1 to 10. Okay, we'll go ahead and start now. All right. And then we start over. Again at 1. And count another set of 10. And then we'll do one last set of 10, starting over again at 1. Now, with the breath still in the middle, let's expand our awareness a little bit and notice the chest, the upper torso, and experience it. The whole. And see how it feels. And stay with that as long as you can. But if the mind starts to wander, then come back to the breath. There in the middle of the chest. Now I would like you to think of something good you did today. A sort of good deed. We're refraining from doing something bad. Or you can even think of this meditation or another meditation you did today, for example, and calling it to mind. Think, that is something good that I did. Then we can think back to yesterday and think of something good that you did yesterday. Some form of a good deed or refraining from doing something bad. Or perhaps if you meditated or if you did some chanting. And bringing it to mind, think, that is something good that I did. Then we'll go back to the day before yesterday. And likewise, think of something good that you did. And call it to mind and think, that is something good that I did. And we'll go back another day and remember another good thing that we did. Now we'd like to call to mind some form of goodness that we do frequently or that we've done many times. Perhaps practicing generosity or meditating, some moral precept that we've undertaken and we've kept to. And think back to one time that we did it, and then another, and then a third time. We'll spend a couple of minutes thinking back in time through different instances of this particular type of goodness. And each time, think, that is something good that I did. Now we'll think of someone, a person, whom we admire, someone in our lives whom we admire, perhaps an older relative or a teacher. And we'll think of good things that we've done for them. We'll think of 3 or 4 or 5 good things and recognize for each one that that is something good that we've done. All right. Now I'd like us to bring our attention back to the breath. There in the chest, at the heart. Experiencing it in the present moment. So we gently bring our mind back. We can take a minute to do this if we're still contemplating. Feel the breath there at the chest, rising and falling. And so with this awareness in the present moment, we'll begin talking a little bit about this meditation. If we're anchored there in the heart with the awareness, we can listen with the heart calmly. And so this guided meditation has been about feeling the body and grounding within the body, bringing the mind to the present moment. So getting in touch with the here and now, getting in touch with the reality that exists. This is one aspect of enlightenment, knowing reality, experiencing it as it really is. And we grounded ourselves within the body at that space in the chest and notice the breath as a focal point as well to help us develop our concentration, collect the breath, the mind there. Bringing the mind together so that the mind all together can have an experience together. And we can see things more thoroughly. Including the body, the chest, for example, as we do. And this would be a meditation that we call breath meditation by the standards of the scriptures, and falls within the four foundations of mindfulness, the Satipatthana of the scriptures, within the first domain, is mindfulness of the body. And being aware of the breath itself is awareness of the body. As the Buddha said in the scriptures, the breath is a body within the body. Then eventually we move to contemplating good things that we've done, good deeds, or keeping moral precepts, meditation or chanting. This is kind of a blend of a couple of different meditation styles in the scriptures, the recollection of our generosity and sacrifices, and recollection of our morality. These are two formal meditation objects in the scriptures. Two of the inspiring themes, as they came to be called in the Theravadan tradition. And meditation and chanting also are very good things to do, and we can consider them also other forms of goodness that we may have done. There's a broader range indicated in the scriptures and indicated in the tradition whenever we perform generosity, but also whenever we perform acts of service, for example. This is a very good thing to do. Or if we perform worship of that which is worthy of worship. As it says in the scriptures, this is one of the highest protections, one of the highest blessings in life. Or if we rejoice in the goodness of others, good things that they have done, this also is a form of goodness that we can recollect. When we listen to the Dhamma being taught, this is a good thing to do. We can reflect on this, remember times we've listened to Dhamma teachings. When we share merit, this is another form of goodness that we can recollect as well. These are wonderful things to remember, the inspiring themes, the things we've done in the past that are good, as they help the mind to collect, become calm on this theme. Because it's about something good that's naturally inspiring, it feels good. So whenever we want a little lift, if we want to make the mind calm and kind of focus the mind and collect it, we want a little lift of the spirit, we can perform this sort of meditation exercise. We can even start with it at the very beginning. Practice it for a while and do an entire meditation just on this sort of theme. Or we can then move on to another theme, such as meditating on the breath, or practicing loving kindness meditation. Some people keep a record of the good things that they've done. I know a monk, for example, he has a notebook with good things that he's done in the notebook. He jots down so we can refer to it and recollect. I'm sure many people do this. According to the meditation traditions of Thailand, this is an excellent form of meditation to practice. Also when we encounter hardships in life, disappointments in life. And even as we grow older and we experience aging and as we come to the ends of our lives. Partly because it's inspiring and uplifting, and partly because it is the memory of good things that we've done that serve as a platform for a fortunate rebirth, moving on to the next life. I remember being with one master in Thailand. He was giving a Dhamma talk to all the monks and to the lay people. And he was saying, he was talking about this meditation technique. And he says, yes, so it's a good thing to meditate on towards the end of your life. You know? And actually, it's good to start practicing right now. Take it up right now at this point in your life. And practice so that you remember all the good things that you've done. The Buddha taught, according to the scriptures, he taught his disciples that all people should recollect 5 things frequently. These come down to us in the present day as the 5 subjects for frequent recollection. And one of them is that we are the owners of our actions and live dependent on our actions. Whatever actions we have done, whether they're good or bad, of those we will be the heirs. And this memory of what we've done is one of the consequences of our actions. We can remember the good things we've done and experience the pleasant emotions associated with them. This is one of the consequences of our actions. And the Buddha pointed out to his disciples this sort of consequence, these consequences that we can experience in the present, right here in this life, as well as consequences we can experience in future lives. For example, he said, if you practice generosity, it will help strengthen your relationships. It will help you make new relationships and strengthen your relationships with other people and other living beings. For example, with our pets. And engender a culture of goodwill. It also will help us gain a good reputation, performing acts of generosity. It's something that people remember about us. If they've noticed over time that we're generous people, they'll remember that. And in times of trouble, or if our reputation is called into question, they'll recall, well, this is a good person. I've seen myself that they're a generous person. Another consequence is that people will have gratitude to you. Even though you may be giving freely, expecting nothing in return. Still, some people will be grateful and they'll remember. And this is another natural benefit, the consequence of generosity. If we develop principles that we live by, moral principles, and if we live an ethical life, this will give strength to our hearts. And this is a good consequence that we can experience in this life. We'll feel stronger inside if we develop these principles and if we hold to them. And it says in the scriptures, the Buddha said that one who is an ethical person, he was probably talking specifically about the Buddhist 5 precepts. One who has good morality and good self-control will be confident in the midst of any group of people, no matter who they are. That person, he or she, will feel confident. Because they know their moral compass and because they have this strength inside. And inside they know that they are ethical people. They don't have to be afraid of consequences of unethical action. These are more benefits that we can experience in this life, in the here and now, from the goodness of being ethical. And with meditation, of course, we experience the benefits so quickly. The calm that comes when we meditate, and the happiness that can rise up, the inspiration from remembering what we've done in the past, a good feeling. Even if the mind is busy, even if it's very difficult sometimes to meditate, you usually will find at the end of a meditation session, when we open our when we open our eyes and pay attention, we'll notice that actually we still are a bit calmer and a bit clearer than we were when we started. And we know from modern science that if we stick with it, even meditating just a little bit every day, It'll have dramatic consequences over time for our minds and for our hearts, and even for our physical health. These are more benefits we can see right in this life. I remember a story one teacher brought up in Thailand. He actually had a video. Somebody posted a video, I think it was, if I remember, if my story is correct. But the story was about a young lady who got off the elevator at a job interview and turned the corner and saw there was a trash can that had been turned over. And the trash had spilled out. She was on her way to a job interview. But she stopped, she paused, and she knelt down there on the floor and put the trash into the can and set it upright, then stood again and went on into the office for the job interview, into the receptionist area. And then when it was her time, and when she was escorted in and introduced to the interviewer, the door closed behind her, and the interviewer asked her one question. And that was, when can you start? Because he saw on the security video camera down the hallway this young lady taking the initiative and taking the time to clean up that trash in that trash can. And so the master said, this is a benefit you can see if you have good habits like this. They really can happen right here in this life. Yet another story about loving kindness. This is a story of a lady who worked in a large food processing plant. And she go to work every morning, and there'd be a security guard there at the front door. And she would smile at this security guard, and she'd say good morning, or she'd say hello every morning. And then on the way out, every evening, she would smile at him and say goodbye. This was something pretty unusual. Many employees went in and out of those doors every day. It was a large processing plant, and most people just walked by. But over a long time, this woman had this habit. And the security guard would always say good morning back to her, or good night. They'd smile at each other every day and greet each other and say goodbye. And one evening, this lady was working a little bit late. And she was the last one in her department, but she had something she had to check. She had to look into the walk-in freezer and check on something. It was a little bit late. She was in a hurry. She stepped in. She didn't have her mindfulness in the door closed behind her and locked. And it wasn't possible to open the door from the inside. And she tried. She tried pushing the door open. There was no way it would work, and she knew it wouldn't. And it was very cold in there, in the walk-in freezer. She was just wearing her regular work clothes. She was looking around and thinking about this. She was the last one there. And there was no way for her to get out. This is a time when any of us, we get that sinking feeling. Unexpectedly, by surprise, we found ourselves in such a pinch. We're trapped and there's no way out. And regardless of the fact that she had family on the outside and she had other things to do and she had other plans, and this was looking like it would be her last night on earth. They're all alone in the freezer. Until, as it happened, the security guard at the front door, he noticed the employees had left and seen all the employees going out. And it was getting late. But that one employee, that one lady, who greeted him every morning and said goodbye every night, she hadn't come out. He noticed this. And so he went inside and he started looking. He looked from floor to floor and room to room and area to area. He got actually to her floor and he's looking around, and he noticed the freezer, and he opened the door, and there was the woman inside who had had enough loving kindness for this guard that she said good morning and good night every single day. And he saved her because he remembered her. She was able to come out and have a new lease on life. And so the master told us this is another benefit of loving kindness meditation, or of having loving kindness, that you can see right here in this life. I know of one gentleman who was practicing loving kindness chanting, systematically chanting over and over again some of the Buddha's verses on loving kindness. The ones that start with, one of the verses anyway was, may I abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, and freedom from ill will. May I maintain well-being in myself. Chanting this over and over again, and other loving kindness verses. Being practicing in this way steadily for a half an hour, for 45 minutes. Staying with this theme, this chanting. So something quite remarkable happened. That he found that while he was chanting, a grudge came to mind. Then a grudge that had been with him for a while, that he had suffered over, a difficulty he was having with another person who didn't keep a promise. It had negative consequences for him, and it was a grudge that had kind of eaten at him over time. Eaten at him over time. But he found that while he was chanting, this came to mind, and slowly his heart let go of it. And it was such a relief. It's replacing this grudge, letting go of this grudge, and replacing it with this feeling of goodwill. From chanting like this, may I abide in well-being, and may all beings be free from affliction, be free from hostility, and be free from ill will. Chanting over and over again. And he said, even the next morning, he woke up and he was going about his morning, activities, getting ready for work and so on. And his wife came into the kitchen where he was and said something. And he said normally it might even start an argument between them. But he said that morning it didn't even bother him. It just kind of rolled off his back like water off a duck's back. This was a benefit of the loving kindness he practiced the evening before. Just this one session. And I think all of us can see, in our own lives, the various good things that we do, and see consequences from them, and see the truth in the teaching that we are the owners of our actions and we are dependent on our actions. Whatever we do, whether it's good or bad, of that we will be the heirs. And the meditation traditions of Thailand teach that the heart remembers what we do. It remembers the good things, it remembers the bad things, even if we don't always remember. And it fashions our lives out of these, in part, with these, and the lives we go on into in the future. And so the meditation traditions say we want to practice as many good deeds as we can, as many good things as we can, and remember them. And it'll serve as a basis for happiness right here in this life, and many other benefits as well as benefits in future lives as well. All right, I'd like to bring the talk to a gradual close. See if we can stay with our mindfulness, and I'll see if we have any questions. Say the list of the chat coming in is with greetings and people sharing blessings with each other and sitting in Anjali's. Looks like maybe everyone's very calm. Are there any questions? Maybe they're all remembering their good deeds. Wonder if any of the yogis here or any of the monastics have any questions?
Bhante?
Yes.
So one thing that surprised me when I first became a monk was visiting people when they're about to pass away. And the monks were all speaking in Sinhala, so I didn't understand, but I could feel something like of importance. So then I asked them, every time I would see them talk to the person, what are you doing? Like, what are you telling them? And they said, oh, we're telling them to recollect their meritorious deeds, to remember their good deeds in this life. Great. And that will bring them calm, right? And make their mind peaceful and right for their passing away, so they can have a good rebirth. And then the monks would say how people would also resist that. They would say, but I did this bad and I did that bad. And the monks would be like, oh, we're not denying that, but just recollect the good things that you've done. And then I've seen for myself how these people just kind of, their mind settles down. They become very peaceful, and it seems like they just slowly fade away and pass away. So about this, what you shared today about recollecting our good deeds and having us focus in the meditation is a very powerful practice, and that we can even take with us into the moment of death to make sure that we have a clear, bright, wholesome mind when we pass away.
Sadhu, sadhu. And so these were monks in the Sinhalese tradition. Okay, yes. Heard about using that technique from a Thai meditation master, and didn't know if the Sinhalese also had the same teaching. And I don't know of that teaching being seen in the suttas. Maybe it is. I wonder if you happen to know, by chance.
I can't recall that particular one.
I wonder if it's in the commentaries by any chance, or if this is common to both traditions. But of course, there's been a lot of dialogue between the Sinhalese and the Thais and the Burmese and so on. So in any case, it's we may wonder where it comes from and so on like this, but we don't have to question the results. We can see those right here and now. So. If anyone else has questions, by chance. Everyone looks very calm. Of course, there are other meditations that can be done at the end of life. Something like in an illness, for example, also, if we pay attention to the sensations in the body. So if there's discomfort in the body, this can be very calming, if we can be directly aware of the sensations, and this can help the body to relax around any discomfort, and also reduce the emotional suffering we might feel with regard to discomfort in the body, any pain or difficulties in the body. And of course, other forms of meditation that we know we find either comforting or calming, or that help us to develop wisdom. If we practice loving kindness meditation, for example, perhaps for ourselves, or for others, of course. These are other good practices. Of course, breath meditation. If we can make the body calmer, in turn will help the mind be calmer, and we'll experience less suffering. And if our mindfulness is very keen, if it's very good, if our concentration is very good, then we can be aware of the continuous change, either of the breath, or of the physical sensations, or of our emotions, and the different thoughts that come up. And noticing this change, this flux, we can develop wisdom into the Buddhist teaching about impermanence. It's help the mind to let go. And say, in times of illness and in the time of facing death, it's an opportunity to really witness, the deepest wisdom of the impermanence of this life, and you can even attain in a time like that. There's a story of a woman who had been a long-term meditation practitioner. She's quite dedicated, and she eventually was diagnosed with cancer in her later years. This was in Thailand, and she went to the monastery of one of the most famous, most highly respected meditation masters in the Ajahn Wade lineage, Ajahn Mahabua. And she told him, I have this diagnosis, and it looks like it's going to be terminal. And I thought I'd like, if I could I request the opportunity to stay at the monastery and practice? And Lung Ta, as he's known in Thailand, so Venerable Grandpa, Ajahn Mahabua, he consented. She could come and practice in the monastery and keep the precepts in the monastery, on the condition that she not bring any medicine and not take any medicines. She'd have to commit to using the Dhamma medicine, as he said. And so every day that she was there, he taught her. He gave teachings. They were recorded, and about a dozen of them or so were turned into a book. I have to admit, I don't remember the name of the book, but translated into English, a book in English of talks that he gave her. And he talked quite a bit about working with pain and physical suffering, and the realities of old age and disease and death. And she was quite a dedicated practitioner. She practiced with this, was diligent. And another meditation master who was familiar with the situation said that she practiced so diligently towards the end of her life, and she passed away in the monastery there, focusing on making the mind calm and contemplating the difficult sensations she was experiencing and the realities of her fading life. That he said that she, as far as he knew, he said, it's his way of saying it, as far as he knew, she reached the very highest goal of the Buddhist life. That before she passed away, she reached the very highest goal. And so it's still remembered to this day. This was decades ago. This one lady who used this opportunity of old age, disease, and death to cultivate the Dhamma to the highest level. This kind of practice. All right. I don't see any more questions coming in. So maybe I'll leave everyone to your meditation. A couple of quick announcements before we part. We have more live streams on in the coming days. You can see those on the website, and then on Saturday we have a in-person Dhamma event. It's every Saturday from 6 to 7:30, and then on Sunday from 1 to 4. And we're saying goodbye, unfortunately, to someone, talking about change and impermanence. Bhante Sanata Vihari will be leaving tomorrow afternoon. He's been here for, is it a month or 6 weeks? Or
5 weeks.
He's been here 5 weeks and contributed a great deal, and such a wonderful presence in the monastery. And he'll be going back to Los Angeles.
Yes.
Yeah, so hopefully returning next year or
Yes,
sooner.
I'm planning on.
Great.
Or Italy.
Or Italy. Yeah, great. Okay, great. So anyone who would like to come and see him off, maybe come for the meal tomorrow, and say goodbye. And yeah, hope you have a wonderful evening. Anumotana your practice and your good deeds. May you prosper in the Dhamma.
Anjayam Dhammakataya Sadhukaram Dadamase. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Good night, everyone.
You can do respects to Ajahn.